Nicholas Bornos of Capitaling, I would like to welcome you to the panel session on addressing the fleet optimization challenges, adapting to the current technological, regulatory, and market dynamics. That's questions and challenges that all ship owners face today. And I would like to thank Anders Mikkelsen, the Regional Business Development Manager of DNV, for moderating the panel and actually putting it together. And I'd like to thank DNV for the partnership in putting together this great forum. I would also like to welcome our top level panelists. I'm gratified to have you with us. I will let Anders introduce you and take over. And again, thank you very, very much for joining the forum and this very interesting panel. Anders, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicholas. They're all welcome to this panel. We'll be discussing, as Nicholas said, fleet optimization challenges with the backdrop of the significant requirements to decarbonize shipping these days. We are all aware of how this is impacting the industry and how fast the momentum is increasing. So thank you to Capitaling for the opportunity to moderate this panel. We're joined by a panel of distinguished shipping executives today, namely, and in the order of appearance afterwards, Harald Fotland, COO at Odfjell, Regis Rougier, VP Operations at Altera Infrastructure, Lars Pedersen, CTO at Frontline, Suniva Segle, Deputy Managing Director at Knutsen OAS Shipping, and Espen Gjerde, VP Strategy and M&A at Wilhelmsen. We can expect to get to know more about the specifics of these companies' strategies and the actual steps they are taking with their fleets in order to position them for the coming decade. I'm very much looking forward to learning more about their ambitions and what they're doing today to stay ahead in the future, both with respect to operations, technology, and fuel choices. We will be hearing from each of the companies first, and then we will have a Q&A session at the second half of this panel. With that, I leave the word to Harald Fotland to hear about the steps Odfjell are taking in this context. Harald, over to you, please.
Thank you, thank you very much, Anders, and good day to all of you. In Odfjell, we've been focusing on fuel saving initiatives for more than 10 years already. And so far, we managed to reduce our emissions with more than 30%. And I will spend the next couple of minutes explaining how we have achieved this result. One could say that our fuel saving initiatives have been centered around three main pillars. It's operational measures, technical measures, and fleet renewal. The operational measures include initiatives such as weather routing, a systematic approach to hull cleaning, propeller polishing, and also on board the vessels we conduct strict control with fuel heating, cargo heating, and I would say any other use of energy. The aim is to remove any unnecessary use of energy on board, and by that make sure that we do not run auxiliary engines more than strictly necessary. And to give you some examples, since 2009 we have weather routed more than 10,000 voyages, and that alone has saved 700 ship days and more than 20,000 tons of fuel. And in 2009 also, our vessels in average reported some 35-36 hours of auxiliary engines every day. And today that average figure is around 30 hours. And that's a saving of 15 to 20% per day in auxiliary engine time. In the beginning, when we started to do systematic hull cleaning, we were saving 3 tons of fuel per day by that operation alone. Now the figure is lower because we do it much more often, so the vessels are not that foul when we do the hull cleaning. And we've also done numerous technical modification to our existing fleet. And I think the biggest saving relates to retrofitting of new propellers on our handy and MR-sized super segregators. That project saved approximately 20% in fuel consumption. The cost of that project was around $700,000 US, and the down payment time was around 2.5 years with the oil price at that time. We also, on chemical tankers, we also use significant amounts of fresh water. And this fresh water was previously produced on the boiler. And we have now retrofitted close to 30 freshwater systems from the company Norwater on our existing vessels. And that system is utilizing the reversed osmosis principle, which means that freshwater is produced more or less without the use of energy. And that again, it's saving approximately a ton of fuel every day. The list is longer, but we've also done fleet renewal. We've taken delivery of 6 large stainless steel chemical tankers from the Hudong shipyard, and those are now the most energy efficient chemical tankers in the world. In sum, all these measures that we have implemented have reduced our fuel consumption with approximately 30% per nautical mile of sail distance. Our goal is to reach 50% by 2030 and to be carbon neutral by 2050. And then we need new technology, and we are engaged in a fuel cell project together with Lundin, Wärtsilä, and the research company Prototech. And the beauty of a fuel cell is that it's 40% more energy efficient than a standard combustion engine. Our target is to implement or install an auxiliary engine by 2024, and that's when we will test the system in real life. And also, I think it's worth mentioning that actually in this matter, it's an advantage to be an integrated company like many of the shipping companies in Norway are. We control chartering, we control operations, and we control ship management. And by that, we first and foremost have an effective decision structure. And also any cost benefit that we are making will be to our own benefit. And this is slightly in contrast to a concept where the vessels are on third-party ship management, they are TC'd out and maybe in a pool setup. So we control the whole value chain, so to say. I think that's my introduction, and then I'm looking forward to the questions when they are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harald. I will not make any comments at this stage. I will simply pass the word on to Regis to hear how Altera are positioning themselves. Regis, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Anders. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Regis Rougier. I'm Vice President at Altera, heading the operation of the shuttle tankers and FSO. Altera was known previously under the name of TK or TK Offshore, owns and operates a fleet of approximately 20 shuttle tankers in the North Sea, in the East Coast Canada, and in Brazil. Altera has set a vision to lead the industry to a sustainable future. So we are therefore committed to decarbonization and building green vessels. I'll focus today more on the shuttle tankers. Several old ships have left the fleet. The average of the fleet is now only 6 years. So we have just taken delivery of 6 new built e-shuttle from Korea. These ships, this e-shuttle, they've collected many environmental prizes, innovation award for their bold design. They've got LNG fuel, batteries, and a fully electric propulsion. They also have a VOC recovery plans. VOC, as most may know, is a volatile compound that is normally vented to the atmosphere during loading operation. But with an advanced fuel mixing system that we have on board, we now use this VOC in the engines. And there is also a gas turbine to burn the volatile VOC and further reduce impact on the environment. So we are collecting every day real-time data on fuel consumption and gas emission on these vessels and actually on all the fleet. We have a team of several persons working exclusively to analyze this data, dedicated to this, improve the vessel performance and efficiency, energy efficiency overall. So the aim for us is to meet the decarbonization target for 2030. That's the first step. I think we are on a good way to meet this target, but I have to admit that we are at the edge of the available technology. So we are pushing our vendors to the limit to make the full benefits of all this innovative and complex equipment on board our vessels. And we have to see how we reach first 2030 before we go on to 2050. Thank you, Anders. That's my introduction. So looking forward to questions later on.
Thank you very much, Regis. Then I would like to hear from Frontline and Lars Pedersen. Lars, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are dialing in from. My name is Lars Pedersen, and I'm the MD of Seglem Fleet Management, but I'm also CTO for Frontline with the responsibility of handling all technical matters on our own fleet within the Sea Tankers group of companies, as well as the new build activities. Global trade and movement of goods or any form of energy are transported on a global fleet of around 70,000 vessels in different forms and shapes, which again translate to 80% of all cargo volume being transported at sea. We therefore welcome ambition and move towards a greener and a cleaner approach to also include shipping, and with the goal of lowering our environmental footprint. And transition towards less impact to emissions are though not entirely new to shipping and to us, as this has been going on for decades, but has mainly been driven by fuel efficiency linked to fluctuating bunker prices and consumption, and thereby impacting our operational expenses, but also regulators of bunker fuel with lesser fuel content have gradually changed over time, and lately in 2020. So I think in shipping, we are used to never-changing dynamics and being used to be resilient to handle changes. Now we escalate this and ambitious targets are being driven through consumers, through customers, through regulations, through legislations, from owners, charterers, politics, and more. All in all, in our view, a great common push. We can then, as industry and owners, have to find a new and better and sensible way of handling this different matters. It's not so straightforward as one size will not necessarily fits all. Also, you have to take business sensitive decisions because not all technical solutions are available or fully developed yet. It also links to different types of fuels which are widely being discussed. That how do you look at these fuels? Do you look at them from well to wake, or you look at it from tag to wake, or how are you going to handle infrastructure and logistics of accessible for these fuels? All in all, a lot of great things going on, but still yet to 100% define, I would say, where different segments are going or businesses are best suited. In Frontline and the group of companies under the Sea Tanker umbrella, we have established a decarbonization project, which has as a beginning focused on understanding how are we going to meet the near-term requirements from EEXI, understanding our EEOI and AER, and then build a roadmap towards how we will meet the different milestones which are coming ahead of us, and particular with the near-term future up to 2030. In general, I would say that we benefit from having a relatively young and efficient fleet, where for sure in the business segments we see that older and less efficient fleets will certainly have some challenges and will be required to take some tough decisions. And most likely, it will be driven by lower speeds or making add of some ESDs. But most people will think most owners will go towards EPL as the first and immediate solution, which on the contrary will add positively to that there may be required more vessels on the water to transport the same cargo, as each voyage will take longer time. Anyway, for us and the industry, the journey has started and are well on the way. We are all in the same boat, and we believe that harmonizing regulations globally without exceptions is, in our view, the right step in the future. So thank you, Anders.
Great input. Thank you very much, Lars. Then I am passing the microphone over to Suniva Segle to get the views from Knutsen. Synnøve, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Anders. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Suniva Segle. I'm the Deputy Managing Director of Knutsen Shipping. And in Knutsen Shipping and Knutsen Offshore Tankers, which I represent, owns and operates today a fleet of 49 LNG carriers, shuttle tankers, and product tankers. And we have always had a high focus on advanced vessel and technology. And we are an international shipping company where all ship management, technical and commercial, finance and crewing are in-house. We have a large new building program today consisting of 10 LNG carriers and 4 shuttle tankers. And all these vessels are part of our growth strategy in our shipping group. A new regulation, both in maritime emission regulations and financial environmental reporting requirements, are affecting how we work and operate our fleet today and how we make strategic plans for the future. And there are different actions that we do to meet requirements for the vessels in operation and also for our new building vessels. And for the shuttle tankers in operation, we have always had and still have high focus on fuel optimization. However, due to the nature of the shuttle tankers operation, in the vessels have a long time anchorage and also on dynamic positioning operation mode, there is less benefit of slow steaming or weather routing, as in the case of conventional oil tankers. And so the shuttle tankers have therefore high focus on keeping a lean energy balance on board during operation, which we call the eco-care actions. And this is a energy saving program that has been in our fleet since 2015. And this focus on energy efficiency. And also on the shuttle tankers, we have been studying and have also developed our own VOC system, which minimize the and take care of the VOC emission from loading of the oil. On our LNG carriers, we also actively use our energy efficiency program, EcoCare, and these vessels are sailing long distance, i.e. for transatlantic or Pacific, and we have therefore a benefit of minimizing fuel consumption by weather routing that we use quite regularly, but also other operational actions on these vessels are list and trim optimization, hull and cleaning, and then state-of-the-art anti-fouling systems and cargo conditioning. With cargo conditioning on the LNG, we focus on minimizing the boil-off and also minimizing the use of gas combustion unit. For our new vessels, we have had high focus on best available technology and have often been the first mover on new technology system and equipment. Our new vessels have been optimized both for the hull and propellers for low fuel consumption, and the engines and the LNG cargo system have been carefully chosen for the lowest possible fuel consumption, other technology that we have adapted to our new vessels are shaft generators, shaft clutch, and air lubrications. We in Knutsen have not put a firm bet on what the future of fuel will be. We believe that at the moment, the engine that they have are flexible to burn different and alternative fuels are the best bet at the moment. Our shuttle tankers that will be delivered in 2022 will have LNG propulsion. We have been participated also in different projects looking at future fuel and possible decarbonization. And we strongly believe at this moment it is important to get the knowledge of the different type of fuels developments ongoing today. We are already in a project with Wärtsilä studying the ammonia as a marine fuel. And we have also been in a project looking at the carbon capture on board the vessel and the possibility to discharge this carbon waste as ice into the sea, where it will settle at the bottom of the sea. This project was called the Decarbonize. And at the same time, we are monitoring hydrogen, fuel cells, and also battery technology. But we see that there are still many challenges to become carbon neutral in the deep sea shipping. The alternatives today are either hazardous or the energy density is low and therefore requires large storage space on board a vessel. And we don't see any clear solution today, but are open for the future and what it brings. And therefore we have a lot of projects ongoing to gather as much knowledge as possible. And we want to be ready for when the technology is in place. And who knows, maybe it's a hydrogen or smaller and efficiency batteries, or even molten salt reactors that will be the solution for the zero carbon emission. So that's at least for the introduction, and I'm waiting for the questions afterwards.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Synnøve. Very interesting. Then I finally would like to hear from Wilhelmsen, and I'm passing the word over to Espen Gjerde. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Espen Gjerde. I work for Wilhelmsen Holding with strategy and M&A. And in the holding company, we do not own any ships and have very limited emissions from the office. But we are supported by a group of around 16,000 employees all across the globe. And we divide our company into 3 different main shipping segments. It's the shipping companies, most known as Wallenius Wilhelmsen, Ucor, and Hyundai Glovis. We have a maritime services division with, for example, Wilhelmsen Ship Management, who are running around 250 vessels for other owners. And we have newly established a new company or division in the group with the name New Energy. And within that company, we are focusing on 2 different paths. It's the energy transition, going from fossil fuels to renewable energy, but also decarbonization in shipping. And to address those 2 trends, we have newly established or invested into, for example, Edda Wind as one of the offshore wind initiatives. But we are also looking at different parts of the offshore wind value chain, from renewable energy production with the wind farms, but also logistics, services, operations, and maintenance. And the other aspect that we are focusing on is the hydrogen value chain. And ammonia is a part of that solution. And there we are also looking at everything from production of hydrogen, carbon capture, distribution of hydrogen, and usage of hydrogen as a fuel for ships. We also established a new company called Topeka, which aims to be our zero emission shipping company. The first project is the ones we have 2 vessels planned, like the ones behind me. And that's 2 ro-ro vessels that will be fueled on hydrogen, which will be taking about 25,000 truckloads annually from the land transportation to these 2 ships. These will be fueled on hydrogen, but also be able to distribute hydrogen along the coast. Our business model for Topeka and zero emission shipping is to build on partnerships. So we want to go together with other shipping companies, ship owners, tonnage providers, operators, cargo owners and charterers to see whether we can find solutions together for a more decarbonized shipping. So that's my short and sweet introduction.
Excellent, Espen, thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for providing some initial insights into how your companies are implementing, let's say, both strategic and tactical steps to position your fleets. Then we move over to the discussion. We're roughly on time. We have, I guess, 18, 19 minutes for a few questions here. I want to start with you, Harald, and Odfjell, and talk about your customers. You have a multitude of customers on board, typically on board at least, each of your vessels, with many different cargo owners on board at the same time. How aligned are they on their decarbonization ambitions or their requirements to you as a ship-owning company? And how do you manage their expectations going forward?
Thank you, Anders. That's a very good question. And I think the positive news is that over the past 12 months, we've seen a significantly increased attention among our customers on emission reporting. And I would say that that is solely a positive development. But it's not entirely straightforward to correctly calculate emissions on a parcel tankers. Sometimes we have up to 40 different cargoes on board, and these parcels, they vary in size, and they have different loading and discharge ports. So to kind of split the fuel consumption on each parcel is not straightforward. But we have a good dialogue with our customers in this issue, and I have to say I'm convinced that very soon we will agree on a concept that works for everyone involved.
Great, thank you very much, Harald. Synnøve, I want to reach out to you. You have obviously big energy companies as your customers, and they have traditionally been very focused on safety, obviously, and safety regimes. How to put it? How does the increased focus on decarbonization impact safety risk or that balance? Do you feel?
Well, we have, as you say, been focusing on safety in all our operations for a very long time, and this is our main focus. And if we fail on the safety, I mean, then we fail on our promise to our charters as well. So. But unfortunately, what we see is that we note that the safety challenges related to application of hydrogen and ammonia, especially as alternative fuels, are sometimes non-existing. And there is a high focus and pressure to start testing the new technology on board, and the safety procedures and knowledge for crew is sometimes lacking. And but if you are this, and this especially when talking to politicians and the public with focus on the aim to decarbonize, but so we see that there still is a way to go related to the safety challenges that are related to new technology on board.
So the pressure comes from the public and
politician. Yes, I would say that especially there's a high pressure related coming from the public, politicians, and also the financial institutions and banks. And there is a high, well, it's a little bit of impatient, I would say. So, but of course, those who work directly into the projects and are involved in the technology, into the details, of course, they have the knowledge of the safety, and they and there is high focus on the safety. But at the same time, you have those eager to find a solution now, and the pressure to meet the goals as soon as possible from them, especially from publics and politicians, I would say. At least that's the impression we get.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Lars, over to you. A question with respect to the number of technical managers that you use across the companies and that you in Frontline are managing. How do you manage your emission performance across such a big fleet and across so many different technical managers? What's the ingredients that will make you succeed here going forward?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Anders. I mean, it's not new to us to be focusing on performance management or energy efficient designs and construction of vessels, but we are now accelerating the focus. Therefore, we have established a structured approach through our decarbonization project, where we are developing our execution map towards the future. This also includes different voyage and ship performance systems or platforms, which fit into our digital ESD solution, which we have developed together with developed on the Recipe platform by DNV. Performance data for some ship types are flowing in automatically, where others are more manual. However, the ambition is to capture high frequency data without human involvement to allow real-time data, making reliable data easy, accessible, and visualize it in a user-friendly way to our crew on board, as well as shore staff, are key to take better decisions and grow a culture where energy optimization has priority. So, I mean, you can have the greatest systems and all data flowing into the platform, but it's really very much about building energy culture, company culture. It links and ties in to all what we do to have a safe and reliable operation. It's culture, and performance culture is a key component in our operating model. And being transparent and visualize is important. But decisions, in our view, are taken on data. So this is the way we are doing it.
Just a follow-up question. Are you sharing performance or the ship managers' performance across the ship managers with each other? Or is that something, is that sort of a dialogue you have with them? Or?
Yeah, we have established, and that is through 2 years ago, we started a project where we structured our future way of doing ship management. So for our LNG business, we do in-house ship management, where for the other segments, we do third-party ship management. We combine it into an operating model where we are having frequently task force or work with all the managers in the same collaborative room, where we share and benchmark open and freely performance. But the purpose is actually not competition, is sharing of good ideas and practices. So we can all benefit from performing all better. So the purpose is actually to make the ship manager great. In the end of the day, we will win from that approach. Having a learner's mindset.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Then I'll move over to you, Regis. You mentioned that we are sort of at the edge of technology to some extent. What are the main barriers for further technology uptake that will take us towards more or closer to the decarb goals of the shuttle fleets?
Yes, I think I said our e-shuttle, they are today at the edge of the available technology. And we are pushing the vendors, we are pushing hard to make the full benefit of everything which is installed on board already. But one of the barriers we meet in operation, or the barriers, they are not technology in my view, but they are legislations. The rules are too conservative and they are old-fashioned. Many rules were written before batteries were installed, for example. So the first step to remove this barrier is to revise this offshore specification. Give you an example. Doesn't make sense, for example, to use all engines running, all engines almost idle, while the ship is on DP for safety reasons. When you have, for example, 2 battery banks online that are not being used. Another barrier, trading constraint. For example, the economics of the day-to-day chartering dictates a speed for the vessel, and that speed prevents optimization of the engine consumption. So if we could reduce the speed just a little bit, and we only use 2 gas engines on full load, rather than 3 engines on a reduced load, that will work better. So for me, we cannot move these barriers alone. We need our customers on board. There is a general vision for reducing the carbon footprint with the customers, but to be honest, many are sitting on the fence or not walking the talk there. So there is often a perceived conflict, and I think Synnøve was there, between sustainability and safety, and I would say even economics. And I think we have first to resolve this equation before we move forward to the decarbonization.
That is a difficult one, Regis, but I understand what you're saying. Maybe not the direct follow-up questions, but with respect to your e-shuttles, who are fairly recently been delivered. What is your strategy for those vessels? I mean, the next 10, 15, 20 years for that matter.
I think the strategy is, I think like many others, we choose LNG motors and with batteries to add the flexibility, make the best use of the current technology. We can blend fuel, but we are, as I said, that is not a technology that will bring us to 2050 on the carbon zero targets. So this is a temporary phase, but that's a technology we have today. So yesterday we were diesel electric, today we are gas electric, so we are okay, at least going to 2030, I think. But the future e-shuttle probably could be ammonia electric, but we are waiting for the industry to develop this fuel and make it available on a commercial scale and valuable scale to make any move. So we'll be ready.
Great, thank you, Regis. Then I move over to Espen. I have a question for you and Wilhelmsen. You mentioned that you are diversifying these days into offshore wind and other renewable segments like hydrogen production and distribution potentially. How do you think this diversification and the knowledge you gain there, how do you think that will impact the existing shipping interests that you have, both in the PCTC sector, but also as a third-party manager in role ship management?
Yes, you're right. Most of our shipping or steel exposure today is concerning ro-ro, but we have long traditions from several different shipping sectors like dry bulk, tankers, offshore supply. We used to own rigs, Wilh rig in the past. So we have exposure to different segments also today via our ship management company. Also, for example, within gas, LNG, LPG, FSRUs. So all these different segments needs probably different solutions. At least we cannot, or we do not foresee that hydrogen will be the solution for every of those segments. But we are doing some tracks within those companies that we own. For example, Wallenius Wilhelmsen are exploring some fuels for their trade and their operations, but we did not have any efforts towards the short sea market. But we saw that there was a lot of push both from the governmental side, but also the investors and financial stakeholder side to establish these zero emission fuels to be available for the shipping industry. And there is a chicken and egg problem there because you cannot get access to the fuel and there's no infrastructure to bunker those. So for example, taking part of that hydrogen value chain is our efforts to start that ball rolling, because we believe that at least for the short shipping segments, that could be an interesting fuel, and in combination with the possibilities then to adapt to ammonia on the same sort of value chain, because we are both exploring, for example, blue hydrogen with carbon capture coming from the oil and gas industry, but also green hydrogen coming from the renewable side, both offshore wind, but also hydropower, as we have here in the country. So we are exploring both tracks and try to get this value chain and economy running. And then we believe it's easier to adapt once you have proven the technology that it works, and we have to work up the safety procedures and operations. It's a lot of difficulties technically, but we as both steel owners and operators on behalf of other owners, we need to understand how these technology works, and we want to be supporting our clients and partners for their energy transition, if you like.
Great, thank you. We are running out of time, but I want to have one final question to Lars and Frontline. If you manage to answer fairly briefly. It's about the differences in decarbonization strategies across the different segments that you are in. What is your reflections there? Just if you can, in a minute, say something about them.
I will do it as quickly as possible. I mean, I've said it before, not all solutions fit all, and not all solutions have been fully developed yet. Either it is through lack of availability, handling of logistics, or technical design. For our LNGs, it's quite obvious that we are consuming boil-off for propulsion and power production. Our newly ordered VLCCs are with LPG propulsion, and our also newly ordered PCCC comes with dual fuel. Our new VLCCs are coming with scrubbers and LNG ammonia and bulkers with different types of ESDs. Through our engagement in the bunkering, TFD bunkering, we are also supplying biofuel to part of our fleet. So different ESDs and EPLs are also being explored for the fleet on the water, for optimizing flow of water to propellers and reducing ship's power, optimizing speed, lowering friction through water and air. So we are active in different and together with different industries and peers and forums and projects for continued learning and for sure of developing our capabilities and competencies.
Great. Thank you, Lars. And our time is up, unfortunately. I would like to thank you all for participating in the panel. It's been a great pleasure to get to know you better throughout this process. I wish you and everybody in the audience a good day and a good evening, and give the word back to Niklas and the organizers. Thank you very much.
Well, all I want to do is say a big thank you to all of you. That was a great panel discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. And thank you, Anders, for putting it together and moderating it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.